Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, folks, to another exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. My name is Ben Tuine, and I got my co-host Jordan Comstock. Jordan.
Yo, dog.
What's up, brother?
How's it going?
Pretty good. You know, I feel like we haven't done a podcast together in a long time.
I know, it's been a while.
I know, and I think I owe the audience an explanation. Sure. It's not because I hate every one of you. It's not because I hate Jordan. Not that. So earlier.
Well,
this
I mean,
year,
I could understand if you hated me.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I'm just teasing.
Who hates Jordan, man? You know. So earlier this year, Jordan knows this. Some of you know this too, but my dad passed away, and 8 months before that, my stepmother passed away. So it's been really tough, you know, emotionally. And, you know, my dad and I were really best friends. I'm the second to the youngest in my family, and we have a family of 14 kids.
Wow, 14.
And so when I was in elementary and high school, by the time I reached around 7th or 8th grade, I was the only one at home. Everybody had moved out. My older siblings have gone. My younger sibling was living in Hawaii with my biological mother. And so I became really close with my dad over my younger early. And, you know, naturally being so close with my dad and learning from him, he was a lawyer. I excelled in academics, but I also excelled in football. So in American Samoa at the time, I was a star football athlete. I was the only athlete when I was a senior that received a full ride scholarship to a Division I college, a Division I university.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a great sense of pride with my dad. We just became so close over the years. And as I grew older, you know, my dad was the only member of my family that attended my wedding because my wife and I got married in South Carolina. She's from Georgia. So, you know, he was so committed to, you know, just to being there for me when I was a young missionary for my church in New Zealand. He came out and brought me home, you know.
Nice.
And I don't brag about that stuff because he didn't do that for any of my other siblings, and I don't rub that in my siblings' faces. Those are sacred moments for me in my life.
Sure.
So, you know, he was 81. He's been sick for a long time, and then when he passed, it was expected. You know, he should have passed a long time ago, 30, 40 years ago, when he had these major asthma attacks when I was a kid. But he held on, and he was, you know, not healthy for the last 40 years, trying to be.
Man.
But he was on like 30 different medications, you know, to keep him alive.
Oh, goodness. Yeah,
and
that's not fun.
He just endured. And then when my stepmother passed away, it really broke his heart. So, you know, he deteriorated fast. He lost half of his body weight in 8 months, and then he was gone, you know. And
wow.
So it threw a wrench in my schedule. Like, I just have been sad, you know. It's been tough, and I've focused on, for me, surviving my business rather than growing it. I've just been focusing on the minimums, and, you know, fortunately, you know, they say that when people are sad, they gain a lot of weight. I've been on a diet for a year, and I lost 50 pounds, and
nice.
I only gained 20 of it, but I've already lost 15 of it.
Yeah.
You know, since I just decided a week and a half ago, I'm like, you know what? I'm done being sad. I need to be done being sad.
Yeah, dude.
And I just need to get
hard.
back into life.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of insurance problems that are going on this year that makes anybody naturally sad.
Yeah.
You know, talk about solutions, but that's why I've been gone, folks. It's just because I've been having just dealing with my mourning process, and, you know, now I feel a lot better now, and I'm back. I've been back, but I feel like I'm almost 100% back. And
awesome.
So we're going to try to do these episodes hopefully every week, you know, just kind of keep committed with you. There's a lot of insurance content, Jordan. Like, oh man, this year
I'm
has
sure.
been a crazy roller coaster with insurance. So check this out.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it. You're the man. I'm just gonna sit and make sarcastic remarks.
So 2 months ago, I get a phone call from a client, and he said he's panicking. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to name the insurance carrier because I'll be ready to take the lawsuits next year. This year, I'm just going to kind of say, yeah. If I get a lawsuit, I might fly out to their head offices and rip somebody's head off. You know, so now for their protection, I'm not going to name them.
You're going to do the haka first, and then you're going to rip heads off.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to rip any heads off. I might get thrown in jail for that comment.
Yeah.
So anyway, he calls, and this particular insurance company represents 25% of his patient base. And we had previously negotiated, his 2740 crown rate from $650 up to $1,020. And just so everybody knows, the simple math of things, this insurance company came back and gave him a fee schedule with the crown at $610.
Wow.
I mean, that's what, a 40% reduction in fees. And it was consistent across the board. Everything was anywhere between 30 to 45% reduction from where he was at.
Wow.
Now, since then, I've been seeing fee schedules cut from the same insurance company as well as many others. And it seems like to me, what the insurance industry is trying to do is they're trying to tighten their belt. They're trying to save as much money as they can for shareholders.
Sure.
By undercutting the doctors. So they're poking at doctors to see who's paying attention. And if they're a client of ours, of course we don't take any prisoners, man. Like we just go out and we negotiate, and if we have to drag people through the mud during the negotiating process, we will. And that's why a lot of insurance carriers hate me personally, is because you don't mess with our client, you don't mess with our people. I guess
they kind of hate both of us, right? Because I try to get them away from insurance, and you try to you negotiate with them and do your awesome thing.
Yeah, I guess you're absolutely right. We're both threats to them. But in the end, I like to view it as we're advocates for patients and doctors.
I agree.
Trying to get that relationship more direct. You know what I mean, with what you do.
Well, yeah, Ben, I don't know if you saw my post. This was maybe a few weeks ago. My brother, who's at the dental lab right now, sent me a picture of a lab slip.
Yeah.
You saw this one? Okay. And the doctor said, please make the cheapest material possible, and that's an effect of what insurance companies are doing to the industry, right? So by saying that we're an advocate for both the doctor, the practice, and the patient is really true, because that's what we're trying to help with, right? We're trying to help the practice and the patients get better services and run a better business, right? So insurance, that the insurance mindset is a powerful and deadly thing, right? When I thought of myself as a patient. If I knew my doctor, whether it was a medical doctor or a dentist or anyone, said something like that to whoever's making a crown or whatever I need, and they said just make the cheapest thing possible, I would kind of be upset, because I want something quality that's going to go into my body, right?
And I have personal experiences with that, and it really upsets me that the focus now is to just get by on the minimum in terms of quality. Have you seen that video? So there's a video circulating on YouTube. So basically, this person cracked their toilet seat, which is made out of porcelain, I believe.
Sure, the porcelain throne.
Yeah. And guess what they restored it with?
Acrylic?
No.
That's what my family would have done, being in the lab industry.
Nope. You would never guess what they restored it with.
What was it?
They were ramen noodles.
Oh, I have seen that. I have seen that video.
And the funny thing is they restored it with ramen noodles. You know, they packed a bunch of ramen noodles in there, and then they shaped it, they smoothed it, they sanded it down,
saw that video.
Painted it. It looked exactly like porcelain.
Yeah.
So people have been restoring a lot of, you know, things that are made out of porcelain with ramen noodles. You should totally tell the lab to start using ramen noodles and mill these crowns
instead of porcelain. Gosh, that's gonna be one yellow tooth. That's for sure, right? If they just use ramen noodles.
Paint it and you can glaze it.
I guess you can paint and glaze it. Yeah.
If somebody wants the cheapest possible material, there you go.
Yeah. And can you
ramen noodles?
Can you imagine like a medical doctor, you know, that's working on your heart or whatever, and they say, hey, this patient needs like a pacemaker. Just use the cheapest one possible. You know what I mean? It's like,
you know, that actually happened to my son.
Yes. You have a not wonderful, but a example story that, you know, with your son, them, you know, trying to go the cheapest way.
Yeah,
right?
Dude, it's crazy. It's like, we're not going to bring, you know, from the hospital's perspective is your health plan sucks without telling you that directly. Your health plan is not going to pay any benefit to our specialists. So therefore, we're just going to bring in any other doctor that's licensed to do any kind of surgery, you know? And these doctors are being given a complete lie as to why another doctor, you know, the more trained doctor can't come in, you know, and survival rates are different, you know, with the right surgeons, survival rates could be close to 100%. With the wrong surgeons that are in network but aren't trained and don't want to do this surgery but are given a bill of goods, you know, they're lied to convince them to do a surgery. You know, their batting averages are less than 10%.
Yikes.
You know?
Yeah.
And so the quality outcome is, you know, who would want to pick an outcome of 10% versus, you know, 90%, 95% or above, all for the sake of insurance, you know? I would rather pay out of pocket. Like, screw insurance.
Yeah, if it's going to be better quality for yourself or for a family member, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But I was blown away when I saw that slip on your that lab slip, because I'm like, you know what? My brother went to a dentist friend of mine who I've forgiven. I won't mention his name to embarrass him, but you know, I understand why doctors do that is because they feel handcuffed. You know, they have no idea that they can pass on any quality component material fees to insurance, actually to the patients. You know, a lot of people call it an upgrade.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about it, Jordan. So on this particular crown that this doctor got, what I taught my brother's dentist on how to do this is, look, you let the patients choose. And, you know, insurance really covers the basics, as you know. Some doctors refer to it as insurance covering they cover functional and fitting dentistry or basics, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Anything that you offer above the basics is an upgrade. It is an added value. And when you read these insurance contracts, it's not just your contract as a dentist if you're in network, but it's the contract between the employer and the insurance. It clearly states in all of these agreements that if a patient chooses to receive a higher quality material or product or service above and beyond what we cover, the patients can freely and willingly select to pay for those things out of their own pocket.
Sure.
But the problem is when you submit, like, let's say I do like an EMAX upgrade, you know, beautiful EMAX unit, cost me $400 to buy it, and the doctor wants to pass that on to the patient and bills it as a $2,999 to the insurance. Insurance is going to come back and say, absolutely not, you can't do that, you can't bill lab fees, this and that. But in their contract with the employer, it says that you can. So there are ways, you know, me personally, I wouldn't bill it to insurance. You know, I'd find ways to have a direct contract with the patient on the materials. But those are things that are not, well, we teach it, but they're not being widespread taught in the in the dental industry today on how to do those things.
Sure.
In an effort to empower patients with the options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree, and I think that's something that a practice should, you know, focus on if they're you know, wanting to provide the best for their patients. You know, does the patient like sign a waiver or anything like that when they want a higher quality crown or whatever? Okay.
Yes, they have to sign an acknowledgement indicating that, number one,
I acknowledge that this is not under the scope of my insurance plan or something like that, right?
Correct, and that it will not be billed to my insurance. And if the patient acknowledges that and signs a waiver like that, then if the doctor's ever audited, then
make sure he keeps that on file, right, under the patient's account.
This is actually this is a 1 hour explanation on how to do this, right? Because there are laws, there are states that have non-covered service laws, states that don't, but there's also a federal law or federal laws that would protect the doctors. So you have to code it right in your system, meaning you can't use the CDT codes. You got to create your own code. You have to put the right acronyms in there. You have to create a description that doesn't mimic or duplicate what the CDT says for that particular like if you're doing an EMAX crown, you can't say crown. You can't say EMAX. you know?
Okay.
You have to call it something different. Like this is an aesthetic unit.
Okay.
Or a cosmetic option or something along those lines.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so there's just so much with regards to how to implement a material. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Or they're disallowed, meaning the doctors can't bill those to the patients. So you have to be creative and not calling it a material fee. But in the end, you're fighting the insurance industry. That is really what they're saying is we want you to do the best dentistry, the added value stuff, the things that we say in our agreement with the employer that they can pay for. We want you to do it for free. It's kind of like when I sign up for insurance for dental insurance and the government says no, Ben will only pay the individual rate, but you as an insurance carrier have to cover the entire family. That's exactly what they're doing. It's a double standard.
Yeah.
Because they'll never do that. They're like, well, we'll insure Ben, but we're not going to insure his whole family unless his whole family pays the family rate.
Sure.
But that's what they're doing to the dentist. They're saying, hey, do the basic dentistry. We're going to pay you for basic dentistry, but we want you to spend, even if it causes you to lose money in your business, we want you to spend money on doing the best quality dentistry for free or for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting how they're doing that. So you're seeing across the board that most insurance companies they're reducing what they pay to a dental office. Continues to be a trend.
Yeah, we have our spies on the other side.
Nice.
And with most insurance carriers, and the major ones. So this is the thing that really ticks me off, is that all insurance carriers except for Delta Dental, they communicate with each other. They have a shared portal. It seems like they have a shared portal, and this is something that what's his name, Dr. Ron, the one that was put in slapped with a felony for overbilling folks.
Roy
Shelburne.
Yeah, Roy, our buddy Roy.
He mentioned this on our podcast too, and I verified it that insurance carriers communicate with each other.
Sure, but and then it's against the law for dentists to communicate to each other on their pricing.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
So dumb. It's ridiculous.
So what's going on is the insurance industry is testing the waters on doing massive rate reductions and seeing how the industry, the dentists respond. And so Delta was the first to kind of poke dentists back in, I think it was 2012 in the state of Washington. Either 2011 or 2012, where they slashed rates by 25% or above. And then California eliminated Premier, and then all the other states eliminated Premier, and then Massachusetts.
Premier is only you're kind of grandfathered into it, but once you sell your practice, the next practice owner can't sign up for Premier, right?
In states, a lot of states have that policy. That's right. And so when in essence, Delta was the first to kind of make that wave of reducing rates. And what happened was Delta lost virtually no providers throughout this process. So the doctors didn't respond with individual protests to drop Delta. They just kept it. And so Primera in the state of Washington, they slashed rates last year, and they saw a much larger rate of doctors leaving the network. And honestly, that's what has to be done. Is
Just
for
leave.
larger insurance carriers like that, unfortunately, you can't go out and say, "Hey, everybody leave Delta." It's
Yeah.
illegal for even you or I to recommend
Sure.
something like that.
Sure.
But when the problem with Delta and these big ones is that they have the power to drop to slash rates, is because they make it so difficult for you to drop them.
Yeah.
And so on the legislative side of things, there are things that can be done there. There are things that are being looked into now, but unfortunately, it's not going to catch the next wave of rate reduction. So all the other PPOs, they're testing. You might get a fee reduction here or there from one insurance carrier. They'll just see how you respond. And a lot of doctors are just taking it for what it is. Unfortunately, they don't know their options.
It's the classic boil the frog, where you put the frog in a pot of water and slowly heat it, warm it up until it gets too hot and boils. Right, the frog will sit there and be comfortable. But if you quickly heat it up, they're gonna jump out. Right, so that's exactly what the insurance company is doing to the dental industry. Right, they're slowly heating it up, and saying, okay, nobody's jumping out of the pot yet. Let's just keep boiling it. That's really what it's like.
The heat.
Yeah.
It's it's sad.
Yeah.
Really, really sad.
So
the solution to that, of course, is negotiations. You have to negotiate.
Stay on top. You recommend. What's the cadence of negotiation that they need to do? Once a year, once every 6 months.
It's every 2 years, but also on an as-needed basis in between. Like if I'm within my negotiating period and the insurance non-negotiating period, and the insurance company comes back and makes an attempt to reduce my rates, I'm gonna fight back hard.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell them no. And if they don't accommodate your needs, then the next thing you need to learn is how to go out of network with them.
Yeah, which I think this is what I help practice with, at least build a stepping stone to that through membership programs. That's one of the main reasons when a practice comes to use BoomCloud for their dental membership program. One of their goals is to reduce dependence on dental insurance by going out of network and creating basically a loyalty plan for their patients that are out of network, right, or fee for service, and they're uninsured. But that's so a combination of optimizing your who you're working with through negotiation and creating a dental membership program to where you can start collecting predictable recurring revenue from your patients, so you're a little bit more stable when you're starting to drop PPOs. That's the perfect combination, if you ask me, Ben. Right?
Yeah, my next article, I don't know who I'm going to send it to publish, but the next article that I'm writing is about what you just said.
Yeah.
It's the fact that when you buy insurance through an insurance carrier, for every dollar that you spend, you'd be lucky if 50 cents of that dollar went towards actual dental care.
Wow.
A lot of it goes towards insurance profits and administration. But if you spend directly with the doctor and set up a membership, buy the doctor's membership plan, that all goes towards your care, because the doctor's the one that's treating you. The doctors can't call it insurance, but essentially, if you want to buy insurance, I would rather self-insure through a dentist. I would buy my own plan through the dentist, even though it's not called insurance.
Yeah, it's a benefit, right? And then maybe you can have an HSA account or whatever, and stash money away there, and it's a write-off for the patient. And it's to me, that's a better way to do dentistry, because you're going to be spending X amount a month on a premium as a patient, when you can just keep that money and put it in your own HSA account and join a membership program from your local dentist, right? And
exactly,
and it's all going to benefit the patient versus throwing that third-party insurance company in there.
Exactly, and essentially, the way you want to look at it as if you. This is the case in point that we have. The example that I have is a client that we have on BoomCloud, and we taught them to drop one of one of the largest carriers here in Utah.
Nice.
And we said, look, recommend your membership plan. And I didn't give them the numbers, but they've been able to get a significant number of those people. Once they dropped the dental plan, we gave them the scripting and all that, but they got a lot of people to switch their in-house membership plan.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm thinking of a practice right now that, I look at, how many patients are signing up for a membership program to practices and how much revenue that they're generating through the monthly and yearly membership fees. We have a practice right now that's generating over $30,000 a month in just membership fees. Right. Yep. And they don't have to deal, and that's roughly, I think, like 1,700 patients for this practice. 1,700 patients they're not dealing with insurance for those patients. The money is flowing directly to the doctor, the practice, right? And that patient gets those benefits included. And obviously they still work with insurance companies, Ben, and I believe you've actually worked with this practice as well and helped them negotiate some of their fees. But if you can do a combination of that, optimize. I call it optimize working with insurance, Ben, what you do. I don't know if that's the best description, right? But
yeah, or kicking their butt.
That's probably a better one. Yeah, so just optimizing working with the dental insurance, and then, cutting out the bad insurance plans and replacing it with a membership plan where the practice and the patient wins. I think that's a really ideal strategy for practices looking to, not be so much involved with insurance companies, especially since they're getting more complicated.
Yeah, and it should be considered because, at the rate things are going, many doctors are going to need to learn how to go out of network with a lot of plans.
Yeah, and go ahead. I have a thought, but you go first.
Oh no! What I was going to say is that it's not as scary as you think.
Yes.
And in fact, having a membership plan and the scripting, like in the article that I'm writing, we have the data from the insurance industry on what they actually spend. So when they take money for you for your insurance, they keep up to 60% of it.
Wow, man!
So when they deny your claim, it's not a function of. I mean, it's more of a function of how do we keep more of what these people have paid for insurance.
Sure.
So it's a safer bet just to work with the doctors directly.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, my thought, when a practice is, wanting to get out of network and negotiate some of their insurance companies they're working with, what my thought here is, like you said, practice, as time goes on, practices need to, learn how to go out of network. And one of the most important things that you need to understand in your practice is to understand how to market it without insurance, right? Right. And it's, because most practices rely on insurance companies to, when they sign up for an insurance plan, those patients starts coming to their office, which most of the time is not a reality, but what you need to do as a practice to understand how you can market your practice better and how to promote it, how to advertise, and get your local patient base and potential patient base aware of your practice and that you exist, right? That's another skill set that I think needs to be strengthened, looking inside of the industry, right? And what a practice needs to do as these insurance companies, hit you guys hard with what they're doing. So those are my thoughts there, Ben.
Yeah, get employers to buy from you direct. I mean,
sure, yeah.
Dude, we've been dealing with employers across the country, and it's alarming. You have the middleman fees, you have the broker fee, you have the agent fee, you have Joe, who wasn't involved in the sale, he's getting a commission. You have Dave, who wasn't involved in the sale, he's getting a commission. You have Jim. You have all these middlemen between the employer and the insurance carrier. They're all wanting their stake. They're all wanting their piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So by the time the insurance carrier has paid all these people their commissions, you pay $40 for an insurance plan. By the time everybody's paid, the insurance carrier only has $25 left, and they'll keep 60% of that, and spend 40% on paying your claims. It's like,
goodness.
If you spent $40 with the doctor directly, how much that would buy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and you had 1,700 patients paying $40. If I ran a practice and I could get all my patients to pay me $40 a month,
yeah.
Well, let's do the math. You said 1,700 patients.
Yeah, if it's 40 is typically a little higher. You're going to see that
it's way high.
But I see you can see 40 to 50 for like perio plans out there. At least that's what we see. But even if you do like 35, which is a little bit more realistic. Obviously there's some more, states that have higher cost of living. 40 may make sense, but with 35 at $1,700 or 1,700 patients, that's just under $60,000 of monthly predictable recurring revenue for the practice.
Okay, so 35.
That's at 35. Mm-hmm.
That's $5 less than what I did. I did a quote comparison for a Five Guys organization. They're paying $60 for their insurance plan.
Wow. Okay, so $40 a month is still cheaper than what they're paying. So that's still a good deal. So if you,
it's a huge discount. But let's say you're charging $35 and you have 1,700 patients. That's that's $60,000, like you said.
Yeah, well, and if you do go up to the $60, that's just shy of $70,000 a month in predictable recurring revenue, right?
Right.
It's amazing what that $5 does across that size of a. But yeah, there's practices that are getting that size of patient base signed up for a membership program, and I think obviously it takes time and energy, but it's well worth it if you ask me.
Here's where the rubber meets the road.
Uh-huh.
Is that for that 60,000, based upon historical data on when people go to the dentistry and how many people use their dental benefit, $60,000 is going to pay for treatment for 52 patients, roughly.
Uh-huh.
So even if it paid for 100 patients, that's still a good deal, because 52 PPO patients a month, you're making less than 20,000 on those patients. Sometimes 10,000 on 50 patients.
Uh-huh.
So if you pay me $60,000 to treat 52 patients, I would do that all day long. I would cover a lot of things at 100%.
Sure.
Maybe not the crowns, but I would do their cleanings for free. I would do a ton of things without.
Yeah, that's like more of a concierge model, right? Which there's medical practices that do similar things like that. But yeah, that would be interesting, right? That may be the next stage of a type of membership. You pay us X amount a month and we cover anything on that, and if you get a good amount of patients on that could be a healthy living, right?
Well, some of the tribal nations are already doing it.
Really?
They're just, because the tribal nations kind of have their own government.
Yeah.
And so they build these facilities on the tribes to do medical treatment and dental treatment, you name it. And essentially it's the same model, but they can stretch their dollars a lot more and do a lot more treatment and cover a lot more, simply because they don't have Jim, Joe, John, Jacob, whoever's in the middle wanting to get the commission, and then the insurance carrier wanting their 16%,
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, the point of it, folks, is the insurance industry is going to be poking you, and
you got to be aware.
Yeah. Maybe next time, Jordan, maybe next week we'll talk about how to appeal a denied claim, because that's on the rise too. That's another trend.
More and more of that is happening.
Increased denials on these claims, and this is true for in-network and out-of-network.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, we need to coach our listeners on how to appeal these denied claims effectively.
Yeah, let's do an episode on that. I think that would be very helpful. But I think this was a fun episode. It was hopefully educational for our listeners, and it's good to have you back, Ben.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Great to be back, and great to be back with the listeners. So I've noticed the listenership has grown. So welcome to those that are new that have never heard from me before. From here on out, look forward to chatting with you every week to every other week. So Jordan, thanks a lot for your time today, and we appreciate you. And thanks for not kicking me out of the podcast.
I would never do that, dude. But friends don't do that. All right. We hope everyone have a good day. Talk to you soon, Ben.
Take care.
All right.